Hi everyone, my name is Carrie, and this is the story of how I dealt with my horrible mother-in-law. To be honest, I'm not solely responsible for her getting kicked out. It was actually her own antics that led to her being thrown out. She almost ended up dealing with the cops if I hadn't been the bigger person. My mother-in-law, Elena, is simply an insane person. She's one of those women who hate other women being around. Unfortunately for her, she ended up having a daughter just after her son. Adding to her misery, her son Keith ignored her protests and married an ambitious woman like me. From the beginning, Elena was incredibly rude and judgmental towards me. Keith and I met through a dating app, which Elena found outrageous. She said, "Why the hell did you pick up a woman from a dating app? You know girls of this type usually like to sleep around and cheat on their partners." "Mom, what is wrong with you? You cannot say these things about Carrie. She's a sweet girl and doesn't deserve your hate." Keith defended me. "Elena, I have no intentions of sleeping around or cheating on Keith. I'm in love with him, and we are actually thinking about getting engaged soon," I said. "Oh my God, Keith, is this true?" Elena asked. "Yes, Mom, I'm planning on popping the question soon. Carrie knows it's coming, but the rest is a surprise," Keith replied. "Must be after your money, Keith. Why else would she hurry you into marriage? I'm telling you, Keith, this girl is not good for you," Elena insisted. "I'm not a gold digger, Elena. I earn very well for myself. In fact, I earn much more than Keith right now. My field pays a lot, so I'll be comfortable for the rest of my life," I explained. Apparently, that was the wrong thing to say. Elena became even worse after learning that I earned more. She often berated me and hinted that I would be a bad wife, saying working women are neglectful and disloyal. I had no idea why she found problems in everything I said. So I decided to ask Keith's sister, Maxine, about Elena. "Maxine, I have no idea why your mom hates me so much. No matter how many times I prove her wrong, she finds something to complain about," I said. "Mom is like that, Carrie. She thinks girls are either gold diggers or useless second-class citizens. It boggles my mind why she thinks like that, even after being a woman herself. She didn't even spare me. Mom neglected me all the time and didn't help me with college, but she paid in full for Keith," Maxine explained. Now, Maxine, you don't need to demonize Mom. Yes, you had a problematic relationship with her. But that doesn't mean she hates women," Keith interjected. "You've always been blind towards her, Keith. I don't blame you. She was always a good mom to you. She loved and spoiled you. You didn't see what she did to me," Maxine retorted. "Keith, I think Maxine might be right to some extent. I wasn't present when you two were teenagers, but I can see what Elena is like. Plus, I've noticed her dismissing Maxine's achievements," I added. "There's no use trying to defend me, Carrie. Keith has always been biased about Mom. Watch out, Carrie. If Mom turns on you and wreaks havoc on your life, Keith might just take her side instead," Maxine warned. Maxine and Keith got into a verbal spat after this, arguing about Elena's treatment and favoritism. It was clear to me that Keith was somewhat disillusioned by Elena's motherly behavior towards him. She was actually a very toxic woman, and I hated being around her. Maxine's words stayed with me. After Keith and I got married, I understood that she wasn't far from the truth. We should have started our married life as a couple, but Keith ended up bringing Elena along. When we announced our engagement, Elena quit her job and demanded that we take care of her. She said she was getting old, and it was time we took care of her. I never liked her, but I didn't say no, mostly because Keith wanted to take care of his mom. I lost my parents in college, so I didn't have the heart to turn him down. Elena started living with us, and she quickly became a living nightmare. She constantly ordered me around and did nothing all day. After I returned from work, she would say, "What took you so long, Carrie? Have you forgotten that you are a married woman? You should have been here sooner. There are plenty of house chores left. Who will do everything?" "Elena, I had a late meeting and couldn't get home sooner. I can't leave before completing my work in the office," I explained. "And what about the work at home? Do you expect me to act like your servant and do it for you?" She snapped. "I will do everything now. Keith will help out. It's not a big deal," I reassured her. "Mom, you don't have to shout at her. We will do everything together. It doesn't take time when two people do it together," Keith chimed in. "Absolutely not, Keith. Men don't do house chores. Your father never helped me, and this is Carrie's job. If she can't balance work and house chores, she needs to leave her job or get a divorce. Yep, that's my mother-in-law for you. She hated everything I did, and I guess she hated my mere existence. Whenever I tried to talk to Keith about her, he would shut me down, saying, "Mom is old, and she has some really conservative ideas. You don't have to take her seriously, she means no harm." Are you kidding me, Keith? You're not the one on the receiving end of her insults. It's humiliating and exhausting. I can't take her words anymore. Relax, you're overreacting. Mom can be cranky sometimes. I'll try to talk to her about her behavior. You have to be a little patient with her. Maxine was right. Keith rarely took my side. Yes, he defended me against Elena at times, but mostly he asked me to compromise. I was getting tired of his behavior. What's worse was that I was paying a huge chunk of the household expenses because Keith was supporting Elena with his small salary. I felt disrespected and humiliated even after doing so much for Elena. The worst of Elena's behavior was yet to come. A little over a year after we got married, both Keith and I found job opportunities that would significantly increase our pay. We both got shortlisted and needed to go through an interview process. Unfortunately, Keith's interview was delayed, but mine was scheduled soon. Elena absolutely hated it. She said, "Carrie, you seriously can't be thinking of taking the job. That would not be good at all. You don't need to go to the interview." Why would I not take the job? It would raise my salary significantly. I will finally have the job of my dreams. You are a married woman, Carrie. You can't think about your job all the time. If you get the job, you will earn way more than Keith. How can you even think of earning more than your husband? That is so disrespectful. Mom, that is ridiculous. I'm so proud that Carrie has an amazing offer. I want her to get the job. This is her dream job. Don't be so naive, Keith. She will start to financially abuse you. She will lose all respect for you and treat you poorly. Plus, she will try to get rid of me. Don't let her go for this interview. I'm no one to stop her, Mom. I'm telling you that I don't mind all these things. You are overreacting a little. Leave her be, Mom. Elena, I have had enough of you treating me like this. It can't happen again. What I do with my life is none of your business. You don't have the right to comment on it. Elena never backed down from her demands. She tried to do everything in her power to dissuade me from attending the interview. She even suggested that I should skip the interview to support Keith since he couldn't attend his. As my interview date approached, I became very careful. I knew Elena would try to mess things up. On the day of the interview, I saw Elena walk into our study right after I left the room with my CV. Back then, I thought nothing of it. I was excited for my interview and because Keith had finally gotten a call for his interview, which was scheduled for the same day. Keith didn't tell Elena because he wanted it to be a surprise when he got the job. However, things came crashing down when I came home after my interview. Keith looked super sad. Keith, what's wrong? Why do you look so sad? Did something happen at the interview? I asked. Carrie, I didn't get the job. Just look at my damn CV. They took one look at it and rejected me. What are you talking about, Keith? You have the perfect CV. There's no way they were not impressed. Keith handed me his CV. I was shocked. It wasn't his CV at all. It had my name and gender written on it, but everything mentioned in the CV was wrong. It painted me in a bad light and didn't contain a single word of my actual achievements. I had no idea who made this or how it got mixed with Keith's CV. I could see why bringing in something like this could create a bad impression and result in rejection. Keith was devastated. I don't understand this, Carrie. How the hell did this happen? This is not your CV either. It has a bunch of awful things written on it. It can't be that I took yours instead. No, you didn't take mine, Keith. I had an original CV for the interview. That's how I got the job. If I had taken the one you have, they would never have given me the job. This is so bizarre, Carrie. I'm devastated that I lost my job because of this stupid thing. I need to know how this happened. It's killing me inside. Seeing Keith in this mental state absolutely crushed me. It was true that Keith was looking forward to the job, and it pained him to lose it. I was also confused about the fake CV Keith had. Then it clicked. It must have been Elena who had tampered with Keith's CV. She had no idea Keith had an interview. She was trying to sabotage mine and failed. I was filled with anger, but I kept my cool. I needed to show Keith what Elena was really like. So I said, Keith, I think you should ask Elena about this. I'm sure she will have some interesting information for you. What do you mean, Carrie? What does Mom have to do with this? Well, I'm sure you remember how she didn't want me getting the job. I have a feeling she was trying to get my CV replaced with a fake one to destroy my chances. No, no, no. Mom would never do that. She didn't even know I had an interview today. Exactly, Keith. She didn't know you had the interview. If she had known, she would have been more careful. I actually saw her sneaking into the office with a file in her hand. By then, I already had my CV in my bag. I guess she looked at your file cover and thought it was mine. Keith was initially in denial, but as I recounted the morning's events, he began to get suspicious. It became apparent to him that Elena might have had something to do with it, so he decided to call her. Mom, come here right now. I need to speak to you. Keith, what's wrong? Why are you shouting? I'm coming. Did you mess with my CV? Answer me truthfully. What? No, no. Why would I do that? What CV are you even talking about? I don't understand. My CV, Mom. The one I was supposed to take to my interview today. What the hell did you do with it? I didn't do anything to your CV. I didn't even know you had an interview today. Carrie was the one who had an interview. Keith narrowed his eyes at Elena, connecting the dots. Mom, tell me the truth. Did you tamper with Carrie's CV? I already know what you did. There's no point in lying. I don't know what you're talking about. I would do no such thing. Keith, Elena knew I had an interview. She didn't replace your CV knowingly. She wanted to swap mine and ruin my interview. That's why your CV had my name and gender on it. Mom, do you have any idea what you've done? You freaking replaced my CV and cost me a good job. I failed the interview because of you. What the hell is wrong with you? It finally dawned on Elena that she had made a big mistake. Instead of swapping my file, she accidentally swapped Keith's. Realizing the gravity of her error, Elena started to cry. Keith, listen to me. This was all a mistake. I never intended to hurt you. I thought only Carrie had an interview today, and despite my warnings, she still tried to get the job. Why were you so upset about that, Keith? Your wife should not be earning more than you. If she does, no one will call you a man. She will take control of you and kick me out of your life. I did this for your good. You need to stop making yourself the martyr. Have you no shame? You cost your son his new job. He was so excited to join this company and you ruined his chance because you couldn't stand the idea of me having a better job than him. Shut up, Carrie. This is all your fault. If you hadn't tried to get a better job than Keith, I wouldn't have had to do this. There would have been no mishap. I told her not to go for the interview. I had no choice but to stop her. I never wanted to hurt you, Keith. I just wanted her to get rejected. Keith was already very pissed, and hearing Elena's nonsense just set him off even more. All the times you've manipulated and controlled us, it ends now. Keith had never been this angry at his mom. He finally understood how cruel and manipulative she could be. Keith snapped and tore into her. Enough is enough, Mom. Carrie and I brought you into our house and didn't take a penny from you. This is how you repay us? Have you no shame? Keith, Carrie is responsible for this. She constantly pushed my buttons and forced me to do these things. She wants me out of your life and is blaming everything on me. My wife selflessly took you in without any complaints. You are the one who started all the trouble. For months, I ignored her concerns and took your side. I protected you because you are my mom. Now I see I was wrong. I should have kicked you out sooner. How can you say that, Keith? You can't just kick out your mom. I know you don't mean this. You're just angry. I meant every word I said. Starting today, you are never welcome in our house again. We'll give you a month's notice. After that, I don't care where you go, but you won't live with us. No, Keith, you can't do this. Carrie, you've destroyed my life. You're taking away my son. I will never forgive you. Don't blame me, Elena. You brought this upon yourself. I did not instigate anything. You destroyed your relationship with Keith all by yourself. You must be so happy, Carrie. This is making you very happy, isn't it? I will not let you go, you witch. Elena lunged at me, grabbing my hair and pulling at my scalp. Keith intervened, pulling her off me and shouting at her. Keith went ballistic, and Elena started crying uncontrollably. He even threatened to press charges against her and kicked her out instantly. Elena didn't make a fuss, fearing that Keith would really call the police. She left the house in her car, and Keith started to calm down. But after his anger subsided, he immediately burst into tears. The frustration from the interview and with Elena made him break down. Through his tears, he said, "I'm so sorry, Carrie. I should have listened to you. I almost cost you your job because I didn't want to upset my mom. She just showed me how wrong I was about her. She attacked you, for God's sake. I don't know how to face you. I'm ashamed." "Don't say that, Keith. This is on Elena. Please don't blame yourself for what happened. I'm not happy about being validated at the expense of your job. I rather wish it was me who lost the interview." "No, I'm glad it was me. I was at fault. I should have kicked Mom out sooner. Don't worry, Carrie. After today, I won't ever allow Mom into our lives again. She is unhinged and toxic. I'm done with her." He promised me that Elena would never come near us again. He also told me that from now on, he would make more contributions to our household and cut Elena off financially. He realized it was unfair that I paid most of our bills while he supported someone who hated me. Keith wanted no contact with Elena anymore. Elena did try to get in touch with Keith, mostly begging for forgiveness. She initially sent me some threatening texts, but after I warned her about calling the police, she backtracked and begged for my forgiveness as well. Realizing she was in a deep hole, she stayed at Maxine's place. Maxine, aware of her antics, made her get a job to support herself, refusing to let her freeload. 8 months later, Maxine unceremoniously kicked out Elena after she pestered her to look after her. She was banned from Maxine's house, and her husband told Elena never to return. Elena was forced to move to a different state to live with a relative we barely know. I sent them a nice email about Elena's antics. Yes, I got the email through Maxine. She is a sweetheart. Our families have gotten much closer now that Elena is not around with her favoritism. Keith has also apologized to Maxine for disregarding her feelings. They are now very close, and we hang out regularly. Keith has enrolled in college to get a master's degree, which will help him get a better job in his field. With my current income, we are not having any trouble with money. Keith has always supported me in chasing my dreams, and it's only fair that I do the same for him. Elena's departure has actually made our lives better, and I hope it stays that way for years to come.